and good morning. Welcome, everybody. Glad we could be together today. It is a wonderful morning. I haven't really chosen a title for this episode, but that'll work for now. It is Friday, and thank God. Good to see some of you up in here. Let's see here. I'm still trying to work with technology here. No, that's not what I want. All right, hang on a second. I'm going to make this cooperate. So, trying to boost up the quality of the studio a little bit at a time here. Got an actual microphone now. And you let me know if the sound's too loud or too quiet, and I will adjust. Haven't seen anybody comment yet, so that would suggest to me it's just fine. Let's see here. Let's do that. That's better. So good morning, Dom. Good morning, David. And Dom, that's pretty cool that your show, your 40th, is on the same day as mine. That's a neat deal. Can't believe we've been at this business for a little while now. Hey, Scott Campbell Barefoot. How are you doing today? Good to see you. Excuse me. So, Scott Campbell Barefoot, I've seen you around somewhere. And you're vetted. So guess what you get? Welcome, Scott. You are now wrenched. You wrenched man. Welcome. And if I just misgendered you, well, I guess that's what you deserved. All right. Let's see here. So what I'm going to do is this. Well, no, that wasn't what I was going to do. You're first? That's awesome. That's great. As it should be. This one and no more. Never again. All right. Howdy, Melvin. Good to see you, sir. Everybody's filtering in here. Yeah, I'm rocking with my Samson CO1 condenser mic, seeing if that's going to make any bit of difference. I might do a little bit of drumming. We'll see. Gotta have some water to start the day, but also some coffee. So, if the stream is not looking good, feel free to let me know, because it seems like it's saying it's not good. And that can't be right. Yeah, I see a few people doing the slow mode. I know Dr. Peterson has that set for like 15 seconds. When I was trying to put some things into a live Q&A of his. I don't know if you can overhear that. That's my dogs. They're saying good morning. That's really funny. Can you guys hear them at all? Or is this mic so awesome that it cuts that out? Because I've got headphones on, isolation headphones, and they're still ridiculously loud. Yeah, it's been lagging a couple times. I kind of figured it would be. I'm watching the stream health here as well while I'm rocking on. It's freaking out right meow. There's this love affair going on between Scott Campbell and Dom here. It's a wrench affair, I guess. At any rate, hey, thanks, man. That music you heard today was actually original stuff by yours truly. And I call that song Seize, like Seize the Day. and I've been working on that one for a little while. It's not in its final version by any means. It's more of a rough cut, but yes, I figured somebody could hear those dogs. They're not quiet by any means. It's probably because the garbage guys are out there, so they're freaking out. But it's hilarious. I may go and shush them later. We'll see. I don't know if my wife was able to feed them before leaving. She's got a job interview today for a new gig, so blessings to her in that. You guys, I'm telling you, it's getting pretty hilarious over here. Let's see here. So, it's Friday, and I was thinking about that a little bit. I remember being a kid and looking forward to Friday nights. TGIF. Anybody remember that on ABC? Yes. Yeah, it's actually three howlers. All three of them get into chorus there, and they create a chord. It's pretty hilarious. Yeah, who remembers, I'm peeking the mic there, I'm sorry. Who remembers TGIF on ABC over the years? Or is that going too far back for anybody? The, was it Family Matters? It used to be Full House before it went off the air. They had some show called Step by Step for a long time. I think even Perfect Strangers, way back in the day, used to be part of TGIF lineup. If anybody goes that far back, that was Bronson Pinchot. And I can't remember the other dude's name. But I remember looking forward to those nights because 4 back-to-back situation comedies that were just funny. To me, at least, as a kid, that I could enjoy with the whole family. That was fun. And it was all centered around the family getting together and watching shows together. Even ABC was all about getting the family together. And in about 20 years' time, how much that's changed. This is very interesting to me. But I don't think that I would enjoy that kind of thing now, almost at all. Hey, Kikya, good morning. Good to see you. And the dogs say good morning to you as well, if you can hear that. I think the garbage man is going by, or I think it's garbage man now. So they're a little hyper. Oh, cool, Scott. Glad you stopped in. Dude, thank you. Yes. Must see TV. If it's new to you, it's not reruns. I don't remember how they said it. Yes, woof woof. Oh my goodness, children. I think my wife just left out the front door, so they're a little excited about life in general. Gotta love my dogs, I'm told. I have to, apparently. So yeah, I remember watching these sitcoms, and they were something I really looked forward to, but nowadays I'm thinking not only would I not enjoy just regular old situation comedies that were nice. Well, okay, so occasionally I like the old Full Houses. Some of those were fun, you know. And they dealt with some somewhat complex family situations, you know. It wasn't like perfect knit families. But and there probably was a bit of a leftist agenda in some of those things, but I wasn't aware of it back then. I didn't see any of it. I wouldn't sit through a lot of that today. I have found a number of shows available, like older shows, on Amazon Prime, and so we can play that on the TV over the Roku upstairs. Somehow we ended up with a cheap Roku a while back. Oh, yes. Yes. Last Man Standing, I'd be all over that. I don't get it here for whatever reason. I guess since they're coming to a new network, is it? I forget what network they're going to. It's not TBS, is it? I forget. I'd have to look at it. I know they're on a new network now. I saw some commercials recently that they're coming to that. But yeah, Home Improvement was a blast for me too. I'd enjoy that any night of the week. That was one of my favorites. Fox, that makes sense. That makes some sense. I don't know. Most of them I probably wouldn't enjoy nearly as much now. And it's strange. The medium of television is kind of what I'm thinking about. Like I almost don't watch TV at all anymore. We do watch things on our television, but we have a Roku, and there's a bunch of free things in there, free channels and stuff. And there's, what is it? YouTube. I can watch YouTube stuff right there on the TV. I can watch Amazon Prime, and we use that because we get dog food and other things through Amazon. So we have the Prime service, but we basically pay for it on a yearly basis, and it sort of pays for itself and how much we save in shipping. So it's kind of worth it. And I have like all 6, I guess, series of Star Trek, not including this Discovery business that recently came out. I haven't dug into that at all, nor do I really have much of a desire to. And that coming from a pretty avid Trekker. But the old original series, I could sit and watch that with my kids, and they're kind of into that, as well as the Next Generation, for anybody who is affiliated with Star Trek in some way. Thank you, Kikya. I'm sure that's the case. Let's see here. Man, it's all about Kikya right now. You've got the comments. That's cracking me up. That's too funny. Orville, yes. I've only seen a few episodes of that, but it's pretty funny, in spite of the fact that, what's his name? Home Slice, McFarlane is a commie, It's still funny. And I'm addicted to LMS. What's LMS? Watched the first 6 seasons 3 times through and still guffaw at all the jokes. We can't wait for Last Man Standing. I got you. Took me a second. Yes. Funny voices, but yeah, I agree. So with the kids, they've watched a lot of the original series and the Next Generation, and I've been slowly introducing them to a little bit of that Deep Space Nine series. Hey, Vet's in here. What's up, Tyler? You sort of sneak in. Kikya had so many comments in a row. You just sort of snuck yourself in there. Scott's I caught because it was bigger. So, nice. Good to see you this morning. Let's see. What am I thinking? Yeah, trying to introduce them a little bit to the Deep Space Nine saga, and that was interesting to me. I really kind of liked that, and more so as I got older. And then I'm also introducing them to what is it? The Voyager series and the Enterprise series. So all of the Star Trek series got more and more like leftist. The Voyager series was very, very, very leftist. The Deep Space Nine had some overtones, but then they got involved in a war, so they had to be a little more hard-nosed, you know what I mean? They had to basically call a spade and say, no, we've got to fight evil, and eventually they figured out how to communicate with evil and got along, and evil said, okay, I was wrong, so, well, spoiler alert, right? I won't go into depth if you haven't watched it all. Enterprise got good because they also got involved in war, and they said, no, we're going to go kick butt. We're going to do what we got to do to protect the human race. And so I appreciated that. I think they picked up on that more. Yeah, Voyager was a little bit. Yes, kick it. Yes, it's true. And if that's getting too loud, just let me know. I'll try to turn this down. It's my first time using this mic, and I've got the volumes way down on it, but it's still peaking. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm close to it, but I want my voice to not be way lost. Anyway, Excuse me. So I'm trying to think, where was I at with those? I liked all of that. It's like they figured it out with Enterprise, and they got a little more butch, going back into the Enterprise series. And so I'm showing these to my kids, letting them dig into it a little bit. It's kind of fun. My older boys mostly. But I like watching other series, like old school stuff. Like we get old Dennis the Menace, Andy Griffith Show. What else comes in on there? Old Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which, that's kind of a double-edged sword. I kind of like the imagination side of it, the little cardboard cutouts and things for Neighborhood of Make-Believe put everywhere, or plywood set, or whatever the heck it was. It's like it wasn't extravagant, but you could do a lot with a little. And I kind of like some of those ideas, like use your imagination, do something positive with it. He definitely did, and that can benefit a lot of people. Yeah. I saw you mention that earlier. That's cool. That is a good thing. That's why I was thinking of Andy. Little House on the Prairie. I think we actually have that in there. Are the Waltons on Amazon Prime as well? And I just missed it. I think for some reason I'm thinking I've seen it in there. I don't know. I'll have to look again. But yeah, we'll do those. Like one a week, maybe two a week. On that stuff. I try not to binge watch too much with the kids, but they're going to understand that that's one of those things they're going to have to battle in life, because they're going to have devices when they get older, and it's going to be a temptation to binge watch things. I can't say that I've never binge watched. In fact, I'll just be honest, straight up. I remember my most horrific experience of binge watching. I enjoyed it, and yet it was horrific that I did it. I watched the first, 5 1/3 seasons. Like I got a third of the way into season 6 of the series 24 when I was on my last appointment back in the sand, back in the old 07, 08 time frame. And yeah, I must have watched. Hey, Best Answers. Good morning. Good night. See, I did the first 5 seasons and then a third of season 6 within 5 days, within less than 5 days. And what I was doing was actually watching the series at double speed. I pumped it up to double speed where I could still understand what people were saying, and it wasn't chipmunky. It was just fast. And so all the commercials were cut out. So instead of it being like without commercials, you got a 60-minute thing. With commercials and everything, you got a 60-minute thing. With no commercials, you got down to about 40 minutes. And then if you double speed that, you got about 20, 22 minutes. So I was watching about 22 minutes an episode. And I could watch a whole season in about 8 hours, right? And that was mind-blowing to me. If I just went one after the other, just bzzz, a couple bathroom breaks here and there, but not many. I can hold it for 8 hours. Especially if it's what is it? Escaping me all of a sudden. What's his name? Sutherland's character, Jack Bauer. Why did it not come to me all of a sudden? I need you to trust me. I'm Jack Bauer. Damn it! It's the only cuss word he could use on, pretty much on primetime television. So he found every different emotional way of using that one word, right? So funny. Cracked me up. That's about as strong as I try to get here on Big Drum Bear, too. Try to keep it somewhat family friendly. Of course, the chat destroys that in a minute. Mr. Bauer, we torture you. We are going to torture you for secrets, Mr. Bauer. That's like the same dude. Like, wasn't the same dude in that series that was like David Lopan in the Big Trouble in Little China? Mr. Bauer. That guy's played everything. He's in all kinds of roles. It's too funny. I forget what that actor's name is, but he's hilarious. At any rate, let's see here. So, yeah, you get Big Trouble references here in the Big Drum Bear chat. You never know what's going to come up. It's funny talking about the Star Trek thing. I'm really thinking more as I bring all this up about the way entertainment mediums have changed for me, for everybody. It's been a huge difference. And Andrew J., welcome. Good to see you. I think I told Melvin hello earlier. Let's see, Best Answers is here. How many do we have in the room right now? Because I don't even know. What is going on? Okay. It was messing with me. Just a moment. Oh, 10. Got 10 of y'all here. Well, I can deal with that. Cool. Let's see here. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Kick. Yeah, the American Torture dude. That's funny. Inspector's a ghost. Nice, dude. You're good, brother. That's just funny. It's good to see you in here. I was thinking, oh, goodness, I'm trying to think how the mediums have changed for me. And after Steve's show last night, I was thinking more about this too. I floated this idea, because this seems to be all connected for me a little bit. I floated this idea of, the possibility of, hey, Tyler, good to see you, man. Glad you could pop in. I floated an idea of a social media platform that in some way was decentralized and would have characteristics that would lend toward it not becoming fascist, not becoming completely inappropriate, and allowing people to speak and interconnect in the way that they do with modern technology. I don't know. I mean, I remember a comedian named Reggie Watts making a joke one time that, like some of you have written in over, email and Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram and who knows what, and Facebook, which are, essentially all the same form of communication, just branded different names. And everybody's cracking up because they hadn't stopped and thought about that. Like Facebook and Instagram and all of it, Twitter, it's all email. It's the same thing, right? It's not a new type of technology. It's just set up slightly different. Instant messaging, all of that kind of thing. We've had this stuff around for a while, and I wonder, is it time to try and figure out the next stage of that? Is it time to figure out, like, where could we go next, and like various different groups come up with their own platforms so it's theirs, is there a way to interconnect it that supersedes internet, right? That doesn't necessarily have to be done within the confines of the ever-controlled internet. And I'm just curious about that. I mean, the powers that be probably freak out at even thinking about such things. Maybe they have spent time thinking about that so they can squash it if it shows up. But like my tastes in television have sort of changed, in the way that I receive entertainment as I got older changed, I wonder if it's not time for communication methods to change a little bit more. And maybe at first it might be a little more difficult. Usually the principle that seems to be going forward is that it has to be easy enough for people to do it quickly, right? Easy and efficient is the idea. And trendy seems to be a popular thing about it. But I don't know. When you're sick and tired of fascism within your communication platforms, then it's almost like you want to go away from that, do other things. Something, yeah, carrier pigeons, right? Digital carrier pigeons. Could we do that? Could that be possible? Or this is going to be an out there thing, right? I'm going to preface this by just telling you this is an out there idea. Having worked third shift, doing security and things like that, you don't have anything with you when you're watching planes watch you watch them. I steal that joke from my old teacher in security school, but it's because it's funny. But at least I attribute it to the appropriate person. When you're doing that at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's not a wide range of things to do. So you have a radio in your truck usually, and there are shows that will play that late on certain AM talk stations, like good old Coast to Coast AM. If anybody's familiar with good old Coast to Coast, with your host George Norrie, or I think they had guys like why can't I think of some of the other guys that were on there? I know it used to be Art Bell, and the series was called Somewhere in Time, but it was later called Coast to Coast, and interesting kind of deal, sort of bizarre. They would talk to anyone and everyone, and it was entertaining, but just kind of funny. That at one point there's a character that's been on that and other mediums of radio, and he goes by the name Captain K. For a long time he went by that name. Later came out with the name Randy Mosier, I guess was his real name, or Moser. I don't remember how to pronounce it. I think that was his name. But he claimed that he was actually this is his words, right? This is what he said about it, that he was actually an alien human hybrid, and that he was genetically engineered to be that way and to serve basically as a Marine in space, patrolling our solar system in like a fighter jet type thing, or a space jet thing. I don't know what you would call it. Making sure that extraterrestrial traffic that wasn't supposed to be within our solar system wasn't hanging around. So they were basically doing patrols throughout the solar system. That was his what he said his deal was. And so he would still send a signal from the Philippines just a few years ago. I thought he was dead. I thought he died several years ago. I didn't know he could do that. Maybe he said he died. At any rate. So, yeah, this Captain K character talked about, oh, that's interesting. Cool. The Captain K character talked about how he did his pilot duties and patrol stuff, but he also served as like a security guy for dignitaries. And there would often be meetings for dignitaries from our planet meeting with dignitaries from other planets. And there's some sort of like planetary space station just out beyond Jupiter or Saturn. I can't remember which. But it's within our solar system. And so he spent a lot of time there, met a lot of different species that we're not prepared, or our government's not prepared to let us interact with yet. At any rate, what he says is that they communicate psionically, right? That it's basically a form of telepathy, and that he's trying to teach people how to be able to do that. I mean, obviously I have a high degree of skepticism about, oh, really? He died this year? Wow, I didn't realize that. I didn't know it was this year. I thought that guy died years ago. Wow, that's interesting. So I know they used to play reruns of the show that he did, and I thought, well, yeah, they're just doing old stuff his and interesting. Sorry, I had to stop there. It just threw me. But yeah, so psionic communication, that's what this guy has apparently been talking about. He's got books on it or something like that. He goes and teaches classes on how to teach people to begin to communicate psionically. I'm just sharing what this guy said, right? So what I'm suggesting to you is be prepared for the possibility, right? That at some point you may see people pressing that as something that we may want to do for communicating with others in the future. I'm not suggesting that it's a thing. You're right. I don't know. I don't know why other species would communicate by speech. If they're out there, what the deal would be. Right. It could be different. It could be different. Again, this got bizarre, and that wasn't my intention, but it kind of was. I thought, well, we're talking about methods of communication by virtual telephone. Yeah, it could have a completely different anatomy. Who knows? That is both interesting and disturbing at the same time, because if somebody's in your head, right? How can you hang up, right? There's some concerns there. I think your eyes once means yes. Am I okay? I am not drinking a bottle of vinegar. This is water with a little bit of flavoring in it. It does look like apple cider vinegar. It is not, I assure you. It's good though. Let's see. Do you have to drive a to give it a psionic? That's great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, my slow mode is on. It's correct. That's correct, Inspector Bear. And I just do that because I only set it to 10 seconds. Like, it basically means if you're not wrenched, I guess, you can only send a chat once every 10 seconds. But if you're wrenched, I guess you're allowed to do that. So you can supersede that. So by wrenching everybody, I kind of make that of no effect. There's no purpose behind it. Let's see. I hope it's not the boulder kind. What? No. I couldn't probably have the boulder kind. Let's just put it that way. If the boulder kind involves, what's the word I'm looking for? Hempilized products of any kind, cannabis type, then no, there's no way I could do that. This is just water with that. I think it's something we got at Aldi. It's just water flavor. It's basically like turning your water into Gatorade, but I put a lot less than Gatorade would have. So it's just low sugar, a little bit of flavor, and there's electrolytes and stuff in there. Jose Cuervo is his flavor. Gotcha. I honestly wouldn't, I'm not at this hour, but I wouldn't mind a little SoCo. I will do SoCo once in a while, in a grand while. And it's even better when you do it with eggnog, the Southern Comfort eggnog. I enjoyed eggnog a lot as a kid, but not the grown-up eggnog until I got older. And I was like, oh, that's not too bad. That's all right. And you got to make sure you don't have too much of it. When it tastes really good, when it's sweet like that, it's a lot easier to drink more of it. So, yeah, you got to be careful. Aldi is awesome. Glampin' Bear, good morning. Welcome. Good to see you. Glad we got new bears up in here. That's always good. Haven't seen you around before, so let's see here. Grown-up eggnog, yes, you got to do that. Sovereign Bear, I'm glad you're here too. Let's see. Oh, you guys know Glampin'? Anybody know Glampin'? Seen him around before? Or her? I don't want to misgender you. Let's see here. Yes, I've heard about those. My ex told me she. Okay, cool. Yeah, I figured you probably were. I'm gonna have to do something here, Glampin', because you're legit. I vetted you appropriately. Welcome to Wrench Life. If everybody has them, then, you know. And one day that won't be the case. One day there may have to be a wrenching, right? Just say that at the outset when you come in here. Check his background. Yeah, better be, you know, are you, yeah, I do the whole check. A Northern Comfort. Nice, kick ya. That's funny. Yeah, I had a feeling Glampin was a cool guy. Yep, you're good, dude. Welcome. Just talking about communication mediums a little bit today. Clifford, are you a furry? Well, I was about to say it. You beat me to it, Andrew. And just to make that clear for everybody, Charity is still welcome in here. If she considers herself a bear or not, Charity is still plenty welcome around here. Whether the wrench remains, we'll see. But yeah, I haven't seen hide or hair ever since that day. She was throwing some weird stuff in the chat. I'm not quite sure again what she was trying to say there, but some people just get to a point where they'll try to express themselves. I don't know if I shared this with you guys before, but I once had someone that had a very difficult time being able to express themselves effectively without telling me until after they'd finished the deed. They brought themselves to a finish over the phone with me. I'll let you put the pieces together there. This was a male, so I can't say I was thrilled about that. But yeah, some people who don't know how to properly express or how to control their expressions and feelings, they'll sometimes say or do things they don't know how to stop themselves from doing. So I understand that. I empathize. Yeah, it's weird. I'm just saying I tried to keep that as G-rated as I could, or PG, I guess. Parental guidance is suggested. I don't know. I didn't see anything. I just heard, and I was like, "Are you doing that?" Okay, this is something we shouldn't do over the phone. That you should not do over the phone. I definitely don't. So I'm not concerned about that. But yeah, I wasn't flattered. Let's just put it that way. So yeah. I understand when people have difficulty, you know, and they'll say something that it probably wasn't the best thing to say in public. You know, I've said things in public, let's put it that way, that are probably not worthwhile to say. So when I was younger, I definitely had much more of the ADHD, high degree of social awkwardness, not quite sure about how to express myself. I don't think I took it to certain extremes that have been discussed. But I understand when people have difficulty expressing themselves. And they're not going to get better at doing it if they stay in environments with people where they only feel comfortable. They'll usually get better at it when they're hanging around people that have behavioral norms. And they can gradually learn how to emulate those. No, that is not what I was talking about, Inspector. It wasn't like that. I probably wouldn't be laughing if that were the case. No, I was talking about someone who, not that completion, not life completion, but personal pleasure completion is the thing I was referencing there. And I think you know at this point. But anyway, not to dwell on that at all, if I can help it. It's just to say, look, it's happened. You know what I mean? I've seen and heard weird things. So I empathize with people that have difficulty. Yeah, it's true. At any rate. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to go there today, but I went there. At any rate, so new communication medium, right? I don't know if it's going to be psionic or what, but something else I think should be brainstormed, considered, a new technology that would, because all these other technologies we have, they're just extensions of previous technology. What would be something that's totally different, right? It totally reshapes the way we do things, but has a lot of these different kinds of qualities to it. I don't know enough about computer programming. I don't know enough about um, the details or architecture of putting together a platform for that type of thing. But yes, that person ate too much Nutella, Andrew J. Over the phone with me. That's what happened. Whack jobs. Oh my gosh, I love my audience here. My audience. You're people to me, by the way. I don't say that in a what's the word? I don't call you audience in a derogatory way at all. I have nothing but respect for bears who think when I mean one thing that they think I mean Nutella eating to excess. Now, I know you don't think that that's the case, Andrew. I think you're smarter than that. Right. But that's hilarious, though. Crunchy peanut butter. Yeah, and you got to have a glass of milk candy, though. Kick ya. Oreos and crunchy peanut butter. Man. And now you've outed yourself. You, Kick ya. I'm probably going to run by Aldi and grab a bag of Oreos and peanut butter. And I need to get milk anyway, so I'm going to have to go over there. But that's probably going to happen now. Thank you so much. So am I. I'm also trying to diet. Dang it. That sounds ridiculously good. And I think minus the peanut butter, my wife will join me. Aldios, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yep, that's just going to happen. It's just going to have to happen. There's nothing else for it now. But at any rate, it's Friday. Come on. It's Friday. I have some running I'm going to have to do later here, and I'm going to continue to think about this. But I'd love to see some people's ideas on like joke thoughts and serious thoughts. Like, how else could we communicate? What I mean, carrier pigeons, digital carrier pigeons. I'm very interested in the field of cryptography. Turkey and cheese roll-up sounds good. That does go. I haven't had breakfast yet. I've just had coffee and water, so I need to go eat something later. It'll probably be oatmeal this morning for breakfast, but thank you, Scott. I'm glad that you shared that. That's wonderful. And especially don't do that if we're ever conversing over Hangouts. If you even if you're off camera, I'd appreciate you not doing that ever. It's a good thing. It is neither tea nor a bag, right? So don't drink it or consume it. Let's see here. Oh, Melvin, that's funny, man. Oh my gosh, this chat just got very weird. Wait a minute, Melvin, what did you say? Go full meat? Diet. Yeah, you're saying like full Peterson carnivore, right? I so want to do that, and yet I know I don't have the discipline built up yet for that. It's kind of like how he says, just try not to say things you know are lies, because you can't tell the truth yet. You haven't worked up to that point. You've just got to work on not saying things you know to be lies. It's like, I can't go full carnivore yet. I have to work on just trying to not eat what I know is not good for me more often. Like avoiding McDonald's, is where I sort of start as much as possible. Let's see. What did I do? Because I had a day, and I knew I wasn't going to get home for a while. I Dunkin' Donuted. I did Dunkin' Donut recently, but I kept it. I didn't have donuts. I had turkey, sausage, and egg and cheese on a croissant. So it was largely protein, and an iced coffee, which was free, I guess, at that time. Hey, Steve, good morning. Glad you could join us. You came in a little late to the discussion, but I won't hold it against you. I was piggybacking off of something that you talked about last night, Steve. You talked about social media and the way that it's gone. You know, some of the ins and outs of how that's been as of late. And I think I made a comment at one point that I was thinking on about, is it possible? Oh, it's cool, brother. I understand how that goes. Is it possible to develop a communication medium that would be decentralized and could be an end run around Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all those things? Just something I'm curious about and want to brainstorm on. And I definitely think it's something that could happen or get sparked from the bear community. And then I posed you have to go back and watch this because it got weird. It got funny. I'll just let you replay it and find out. But I might leave you guys with a little bit of drumming here. I did want to do just a little bit more drumming today. And it's going to be awkward with this funny camera angle that sucks. One day I'm going to get another camera hooked up. But as you can see, I do have a pretty cool microphone hooked up. Bears could do it. It's just a matter of what do we do, right? That's what we're trying to figure out. What is it that we're going to do? Is it going to be a digital medium, or is it going to be something entirely different, like a new type of technology? You know, it'd be great to be able to see what all the pieces are that are involved. Like I've talked about the last 2 days, breaking things down to their constituent parts, right? With the drumming, it's what I do. I try to break things down to the rudiments, but then I break the rudiments down even smaller to like the letters that I've talked about, like the drumming letters. I was looking around for the poster, but it's not close by. Yeah, I put it elsewhere. You break it all down to the little letters. Yeah, exactly, Glampin. I agree. And that's why I'm thinking, what do we need in order to communicate with somebody digitally, right? To be able to send video, audio, and voice. You know, those three mediums. Video, audio, voice, and text, right? Video, audio, voice, text. How do we send those four mediums efficiently, effectively, and in a decentralized way? This decentralized thing is like the core of all of it. Kind of like we have a federal government, but we have state governments as well. Is there a way to create different, don't misunderstand me, don't make this a government thing. I'm not suggesting that's socialism, and no thank you. But for there to be different platforms out there and that they can all network, right? They can all interact with each other, but there's no ownership of any one platform, right? All the platforms work in tandem, and no one's trying to work to have a platform that's for everyone, like one platform that everybody's on. Like, we could all be on multiple platforms, right? And that could get a little, I would say, find a way to make that happen, because we're already a bunch of us on multiple platforms, right? But platforms that are for different areas or different regions, or I don't know what. But it's not like one central thing. You know what I mean? It's not one central group of people that own it. Yeah, something to use. Well, you're saying Bitcoin, and I'm thinking using the blockchain technology, which allows us to have things like cryptocurrencies and things like that. Something that operates along some of those principles. The way that blockchain stuff works make this new form of communication work in that same way. Well, I'm talking bigger than that. I'm talking bigger than an alternative to Twitter. I'm thinking something that allows us to do those four things: audio, video, text, and voice. All four of those modes of communication, but not on a platform like Google related, you know, or how would I say it? Not not something that you could get widget-skied on, right? You know, to sort of extract ourselves from that. And Gab is cool. I mean, I get what they're trying to do there. I'm involved in one right now called Mighty Networks, and it's a cool alternative. It's largely faith-based, I think, Christian faith-based, and Harold introduced me to that. He brought me along on that. By the way, for those that weren't here when I mentioned it, feel free to go check it out. I played music at the top of yesterday's show and at the end of it as well from Harold's album. That one of the second track off the album was called "Man Inside Me," which he and I talked about when he was in here 2 days ago. And I actually got a notice from YouTube because I all he did was take a microphone and like hold it up to the speakers of my laptop and let this song play a little bit. And apparently there's an algorithm in YouTube that it picked that up. Yeah, use the dark web, Campbell, right? All I did was, I guess this algorithm picked up that I was playing some of that song. And then I got some sort of copyright notification for that video. Hey, you have this music. It knew which song, it knew who all the artists were. All of that was listed. And the claimant was Harold's distributor, CD Baby. And fortunately, they were saying, the CD Baby, the distributor, is allowing you to use this music in your video, right? You're not forced to remove it. It's no copyright strike or anything, but you did use copyrighted material. They just had to let me know. So I had meant to do it before I'd even put the video up. I was going to put a link in the description so you could go to Harold's website, check out the album. If you wanted to, Harold Green, that's an extra E on the end of Green, haroldgreenmusic.com, and download your copy of the whole album. But you can also find tracks of it posted on YouTube. I mean, he's got a lot of the songs out there as well if you want to hear them. Yeah, you want to support him, go check out the album, of course, but you can always find the tunes there too. Yeah, so I've got to be smart about how I use music on the show and things like that. I knew that one was going to be fine because Harold's my guy and I'm his, and that sounded kind of gay. Wasn't meant to, because I'm supposed to be not gay Dave Rubin. And I agree. I am supposed to be not gay Dave Rubin. I've also gotten to play that show many times on live in locally around here. Ooh, is this? Oh, you found it on iTunes. You rock, Kodiak. Dude, yes. That's good stuff. Love it. Thank you, man. I know. I did. I have those moments once in a while. Not by choice, by accident. Not gay Rubin should sound a bit gay because it's Dave. It's Dave's voice as impersonated by me. I agree that my voice did sound a bit gay. Got to thank Andrew, Jay, and and Sergeant Peterson for referencing that when I was on my interview on Tuesday with Pender. That's cracking me up. Inspector. That's hilarious, man. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to drum for a little bit here, and that's going to be some music, but I'll actually play some outro music for those of you that hadn't heard some of it yet, from some of my stuff. And yeah, I want to see if this mic doesn't completely blow itself out. I'm going to see if I can affect that just to share something with you. Let's see, that's working. Yeah, there we go. Yep, that's coming, Andrew. I'm gonna talk to Steve. I'm gonna call you today, and we're gonna see if I can send you a good picture of Chunk, and the Chunk Guevara shirt will be out. Love Chunk or you're a commie. That's gonna be the next shirt. So let's see here. Can you see? Am I drumming like Hebrew? Yes, those have to happen, Andrew. All right, so this is still awkward as fudge because I have to be angled in order for you to see what I'm doing, and I don't have a camera yet. I could come over here and and you can see it that way. Yeah. Yeah, that works. How about that? How about that? Let's do this here. Let's see if I don't blow out the microphone. That'd be great. You see? Yeah, you can see. There we go. Now the ride symbol's like way over there. This is so funny. So some of the stuff I was talking about the other day, breaking stuff down to its constituent parts, and I'm just using this 4-piece setup. There's this famous drummer named Nate Smith. Thanks, I appreciate it. I have a face for radio, so it works out. Let's see here. Nate Smith, if you haven't heard of him, go look him up today. Check this guy out. He plays with a group called Wolfpack, and they're so good. So good. There's a video or two where he's just using hi-hat, snare drum, bass drum. That's all he's got. And it's so sick, the stuff that this guy can do. It's simple, and yet it's complicated in subtle ways. And you're just mind blown. Like, he could just play a groove for like 20 minutes, and your jaw would drop. Right? It's that stupid. So, something simple like this. So, simple stuff, right? It's not a tough groove. It's lots of little accents. It's lots of little embellishments here and there, but in the right places, right? And it's all basic stuff. When you break it all down to its little bits and pieces, it's basic stuff. My dream breakfast scenario: wearing a left chunk of your coffee chair while drinking coffee out of a painter ugly mug, while dipping Oreos in peanut butter and Nutella. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Hang on, I'm going to turn my volume back up. Can y'all hear me well enough? I turned it down for the drumming. But, Mud riff from Primus. Oh, yeah, the Mud riff. That's true. You're right. That's a great tune. I'm also partial to Jerry Was a Race Car Driver, but I don't play that one near as well. Man, I'd have to think about that. I think I could do that. I'd have to think about that. Hang on, I am thinking about that. I'm thinking about that food too. I'm thinking about that Oreo stuff right now. There's a little Jerry was a race car driver. Kind of, sort of. Oh, man. Yeah, that's difficult. That's quite difficult. When I'm all the way over here. Normally, if I was sitting properly, right? If I was sitting at my drum set where I'm comfortable, I'd be sitting right here, right? And I'd play like this. And then you're not seeing anything. You're just seeing my back, right? So that doesn't work too well. I'm going to have to get this figured out because I have another camera. Thank you, Kick. Yeah, I appreciate it. My volume's still way down. Let me turn that up a little bit. Yeah, I have a camera, but I haven't been able to get it and the soundboard that I've got this little thing to work simultaneously yet. When I figure that out, then I have this other little Logitech camera hung up somewhere else. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's always interesting. It's always kind of fun figuring out what am I capable of here. What can I put into this show? All right, I'm going to try to drum from like a 50-degree angle away from the center of my drum kit. Coffee. At any rate, so excuse my eyes here. Entertainment mediums have changed significantly, and I don't know what's to come next. I know they're starting to talk about like things like Google Glass and all of that. That's been a thing. It didn't go off too well. I know when I was with my kids up at the Museum of Science and Industry, I may have mentioned this before. Sovereign Bear. You and Jaron Monroe's wife probably say that. Let's see here. When I was at Museum of Science and Industry with my kids, there was someone that approached us and asked us to see we'd participate in a study they had going on about a new exhibit they wanted to open up, and it was interesting. It was I'm trying to think now. They wanted to have like this tablet out there or something similar to that would have questions on it and like interactive things where you could learn about the basics of circuitry, right? Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Those Google Glass holes. Yeah, they wanted to test this thing out, and they needed someone who was like a parent and then a child who was like between 8 to 10. And I have one kid who's in that range. So the other 3 kids, they gave them like stuff to color on and things like that. But we went into this room they had off to the side there. They videoed and audioed my son and I working with this tablet, and we tried out. Oh, I'm getting weird noise from my cell phone, I think. We tried out this tablet, and it was supposed to be one of these kind that have this electrostatic, or I don't know what you call it, charge that goes across the top of the screen. So you can, hey Boulder, good morning. It was this charge that would go across the top of the screen, and when you touch it, it would give feedback, like haptic feedback, where you could sort of feel the texture of what you're supposed to be touching, or some kind of, it was a different kind of feel over that area because of the charge that you would get back that simulates texture or sense of touch on the screen. So I heard about this years ago, and I was fascinated by that. It wasn't really sophisticated at all. It was just enough that when you traced your line over the circuit lines that were in the different questions they had for the kids to work out on how a circuit works, there'd be like a battery, and then the circuit would go. You'd have section A, then you get to like a resistor, and then you'd have section B, and then you'd have a light bulb, and then you'd have section C, and then you'd go all the way back to the battery. So they'd be broken up in these different ways, and you try to figure out where is the current weaker or stronger and all that. But you're supposed to try and activate the circuit by tracing your finger along the circuit and getting it to start and all that kind of thing. And when you touch the rest of the screen, it felt fairly smooth. When you touch the circuit, there's a little bit of like resistance to your finger sliding, or less friction there, or more friction, excuse me. And I wondered if that was, I guess that was generated by this electromagnetic field that goes over the top of the screen. Very, very cool. And so that's something that I think we'll be seeing more of in the future to come here. But I don't know what usage that would have in terms of developing a new medium for communication, or mediums, right, that could be controlled by smaller groups of people. It'd be easier for the everyday average person to create their own network and somehow get involved in other networks as well, right? Like you could have the option to send a message that's in this one thing to a whole bunch of, like, you can send text messages, you can send pictures and video over your texting service. Are there ways for people to create their own simple little service and have it regulated, sort of like telecommunications? Jordan Peterson's talked a lot about that, like these different places like YouTube, Twitter, and all these things. They're going to have to probably get regulated like telecommunications, as opposed to the way they're doing now, where they're trying to have some sort of moral say over the content. Of course, I don't know if that means FCC guidelines are involved. FCC guidelines aren't involved over telephone. We can say what the heck we want over the phone. That's our choice. I don't know. Just an interesting thought. Something that would step outside of the norm here, and I don't know, be more attractive to the average person, be championing freedom, maybe in not such a overt way, but it's just at its core, what it's all about lends toward that. I think it'd be, I don't know. Hey, Fair Bear, welcome. Good to see you here. I'm spitballing. I'm just spitballing an idea. That's all I'm trying to do right now. But I love your comments. Please, not only like and subscribe, those that haven't yet, plenty of you have, and plenty smashing the like button. I appreciate that. But comment. The comments are huge. If you comment after the video's done, right? Like, go say, just spend 30 seconds, type a little message in here to let me have an idea, or shoot me something in Hangouts or whatever you think. I'm really curious to get other people's just crazy ideas, like wild out there ideas. Even if it's insane, you don't think it would work, shoot some. I mean, I talked about psionic communication today, right? So obviously I don't have a limit on how like serious the idea has to be. Just thinking. All right, guys, the show is getting more intricate. It's getting a little more higher quality. I'm having to wear headphones, and hey, Fair Bear, good to see you. I'm sorry you're coming in toward the end of the show, but we're getting this to be more interesting here. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see where this is going to go. Like I said, I get the high quality mic now, and I've got some software to do things with. So we'll get things set up, and onward and upward. Pinder, I'll be contacting you about the Chunk Wavara shirts. All right. Engage your mind right here. Engage your body. Engage your heart. And seek to serve the ultimate purpose. Peace, Bears.